Good afternoon, everyone. We're convening the Joint Committees on Transportation and Culture and the Arts and Agriculture and the Environment on our 3 p.m. agenda here in State Capitol Conference Room 224. Just ask everyone to make sure you submit your testimony if you haven't yet. And we will be limiting our testimony. So if folks go on too long, we'll cut you off so we can make sure everyone else has a chance to testify. And I'll just note for the folks who are here with us, we also have, following this agenda, a joint agenda with the EET committee, which has a couple bills on it, which we'll get to right after this. And then after that, just a transportation, culture, and arts agenda by ourselves. So that's the order we'll go in. So appreciate everyone's patience. And let me turn it over to my esteemed colleague from Agriculture and the Environment.
Esteemed, right? Oh, impressed. Respectfully.
My wise colleague, an incredibly handsome colleague.
Oh. You must have a bill he wants me. Okay, folks. Hello, Mike Alco. And so we'll start off with SB 3237, relating to ag, facilitates the control and eradication of invasive species and pests, establishes a plant nursery licensing program, requires the Department of Ag to designate certain species as pests for control or eradication, imposes certain limits on imports and transportation, and updates the method by which the department's noxious weed list is updated. First up is Department of Attorney General.
Good afternoon, Chair Gabbard, Chair Lee, and members of the committee. Deputy Attorney General Jennifer Hawai'i on behalf of the Department of the Attorney General. So we have provided written comments on Senate Bill 3237, identifying various concerns we have with certain provisions of the bill, including due process, preemption, search and seizure concerns, as well as concerns with some provisions requiring clarification and having some unintended effects. We have also provided recommendations for technical non-substantive amendments to the bill. All our points, including the recommendations to resolve these concerns, are contained in our written testimony. If the committee would allow me the time, I could explain each point, but otherwise I'm available for questions.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Next is Department of Ag.
Aloha chairs, committee members, thank you very much. Dexter Kishida, Deputy at Hawaii Department of Agriculture. The department stands in our testimony, and we just want to state that we definitely appreciate both the urgency in this bill and its thoroughness on covering quite a wide variety of topics in biosecurity. The last thing I would like to leave, though, is that it will take funding to implement many of the changes here. And in our testimony, it is stated about 100 million, 120 million to kind of start the program up, and about 30 million for residual operating costs. And one thing that I would like to explain, that while it may look similar to Department of Health, ag is a little more messy than our commercial kitchens are. And so it's going to take a little more to do than the red, yellow, green placards. Thank you.
Thank you. Tech, I want to make sure you've got the 2-minute time limit. Are you with us? Yeah. Okay. All right, next up is Christy Martin from CGAPS.
Aloha chairs, committee members, Christy Martin, Coordinating Group on Alien Pest Species. Mahalo for hearing this bill. It is quite a laundry list of things. We wanted to make sure, though, that we pointed out that the Department of Agriculture has the sole authority to protect us from the importation and the spread of invasive species in our state. And that is deserving of our respect and hopefully more funding for them to be able to accomplish some of these things. We also wanted to finally point out that, a number of the things that are in the bill are zero cost. And some of the provisions are what I would consider work smarter provisions, where we look at the critical control points that we need to address as top priorities. And so we just appreciate the opportunity We hope to work further on other drafts of it. Just thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. Next is Angela Young. In support, Dave Mullenix on Zoom from Greenpeace.
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Thank you. Yes. How about Keone Shizuma on Zoom?
Hey, aloha. Well, I submitted written testimony in support. Just want to also say thank you for the introducers of this bill, and I appreciate the efforts, even though I do know that there will be some challenges for some entities as it'll affect them. But I do really think that we need to continue to make these efforts to take care of our resources and our environment, our fragile ecosystem here in Hawaii. Once that's changed, as we all know, and as is mentioned within the bill, these invasive species can have this dramatic effect on our lifestyle and the way things are in Hawaii and the way we enjoy Hawaii today. So just want to express my appreciation and hope that you guys, and my support, hoping that you guys pass this bill. Mahalo.
Okay. So there are about 35 in support and 1 opposed. Is there anyone else here in person or on Zoom that would like to testify? Please come forward.
Aloha Chair, Senator DeCoit, Chelsea Arnott, on behalf of the Hawaiian Invasive Species Council, apologies for not getting our testimony in. I'll make sure that gets to you folks as soon as possible. I'm just here to reflect our support of this bill. As I mentioned at the House side, the companion bill for this, we also submitted testimony and support because this really does help us achieve and make progress on our Hawaii Interagency Biosecurity Plan, and definitely want to recognize the comments made from the deputy at the Hawaii Department of Agriculture that this does take funding and appropriation to make this bill into reality. So really appreciate you hearing this and here for any questions. Mahalo.
Thank you, Chelsea. Anyone else here wishing to testify, please come forward. Brian?
Good afternoon, Chair, Senator DeCoit, Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bill. We did submit testimony, but I believe we clicked written only. Wasn't sure if we'd be done with Ag Day at this point. Thank you for Ag Day, Chair. We submitted comments. We absolutely support efforts and the attention that we're getting for invasive species. Unfortunately, we're upset that we're getting so much attention for invasive species. You've heard us before come before this body talking about the devastation to our farmers, our ranchers, our fragile ecosystem and environment. You also heard us earlier this year talk about the 2002 report to the legislature that said it would take $50 million a year to combat invasive species. So absolutely, we do request more funding. We like SB 2419, which does appropriate money for the biosecurity program. We need to address pre-entry, protect our borders, and then if it slips through, then let's deal with it. Let's try to eradicate and ultimately control if we have to. We should be talking about protecting our borders. Department of Agriculture is the tip of the spear for biosecurity. This is a big bill. There's some good things in it, some bad things. We do not like that Department of Ag would possibly lose their authority in this bill. So it's a very big bill. We appreciate the introducers of the bill, their attention, and we do need to do something, but the department needs to be properly funded. $50 million a year, 22 years ago. If we don't protect our borders, every year we're gonna get more and more and more, and that cost will continue to go up. Thank you for the attention and all the bills that are addressing invasive species. We hope at some point we hardly have bills that are addressing invasive species. That will be our goal. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Brian. Anyone else? Online? Members, any questions? Senator DeCoit?
Department of Ag, please. So Dexter, if we give you $100 million, can you take care of the problem?
We can. And the 100 million really is to work with the community, right? It's not only equipping us, but working with our partners that are also working on this to get this job done. It is going to require a lot more staff. It is going to require facilities as well. And that is what is included in that 120 million. It's the physical building, the things and the people needed to do this work.
So we all know the challenges to hiring people. I need a timeline.
Sure, that's a really good point. In the last year, we've filled I think it's 15 now positions, and we have one more that's going to be hired shortly in our plant quarantine division alone. And so we're having a very good track record on finding, and I was going to say acquiring, wrong word, and hiring folks that are interested in fighting and combating and preventing invasive species coming here. We're also redescribing in this next year some of our plant pest control positions, because while in some areas a noxious weed specialist is a great sounding position, people don't know what that is. But a biosecurity specialist, I think people would be able to understand and then apply for. So we expect year over year being able to get between UH and others easily 40 people onboarded to continue this growth, to fully staff ourselves. And again, we're also working with our partners, the invasive species committees, Hawai'i Ant Lab, et cetera, to ensure this can really, the big attack starts now.
So, you know, we get a lot of community groups, right? And I think our challenges have been to man the ports, right?
Absolutely.
So how do you address all the isolated areas that move across the ocean and that docks in all these areas that you folks have no control, not you guys, not DLNR, not DoCare? Is it in the best interest that we work with some of those community groups or contract them out to man those areas?
That is, again, right, that's part of that plan, is not just the internal capacity building, but needing those, like we have education coordinators at PQ, a few more to engage community to ensure and empower them. And that is some of the work the bill does, to empower them to do these things. And then we come in, of course, I don't want to say with the heavy hand, but the regulatory arm, if needed. But we're hoping education really is the best piece for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else? I'll turn it over to my distinguished chair of the TCA committee.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 2815, relating to infrastructure, which establishes a working group to look at the state's port and harbor system as it relates to the potential of future ag product transportation. And testifying first, 2815, we have Department of Agriculture.
Thank you very much, chairs and committee members. Dexter Kishida, Hawaii Department of Agriculture, and we stand in strong support. As we're looking holistically at agriculture, logistics is absolutely key. As Senator DeCoit mentioned, our remote areas and others, do they have access to being able to move product? Oahu absorbs quite a lot. We are a big consumer. Some of our neighbor islands are great producers. How do we get it here? And then abroad as well. This study will be very beneficial in finding the best methods to do that. Thank you so much. I'll be here for any questions.
Thank you. That's everyone we had signed up. Is there, oh. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, distinguished and wise Chair and Senator DeCoit. Brian Miyamoto here on behalf of the Hawaii Farm Bureau. We did submit testimony. If you didn't receive it, we'll make sure the committees get our testimony. Again, we're in support. This is a great idea. It's just a study. As you heard the deputy say, transportation is a big concern, a big challenge for our farmers and ranchers. Majority of our agricultural lands are on the neighbor island. However, the market is here. As an example, the Ways and Means Committee, which some of you sit on, we just visited Kauai and Port Allen. We're increasing production in Kikaha for agriculture production, producing more food. But those farmers need to drive all the way into Lihui, fighting traffic. It takes a while, cold chain concerns. Port Allen may be a solution, but again, we want those studies. Maybe able to ship out of Port Allen, they can ship in their inputs instead of everything going into Lihui and cut down on some of the expenses, which ultimately will help their production costs. So again, this study is great. We want to look at not just current, but future agricultural potential for transportation. Again, thank you for the opportunity to testify, and thank you for the attention to agriculture. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure?
Aloha, Chair Lee, this is Drake Levy from DOT.
Oh, wait, go ahead.
We submitted a written testimony very late. Apologies for not getting in earlier. But the Department of Transportation stands in strong support. We did include in our written testimony a request for the committee. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my camera. I'm sorry. We asked the committee to consider adding in the shipping companies into the working group, because as the previous two testifiers have said, transportation of the product is critically important. And if they're not at the table, we miss like half the issue. That's our testimony. Thank you.
Thank you very much. ADC, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, chairs and Senator DeCoit. I'm Wendy Gady. I'm with the Agribusiness Development Corp. We submitted testimony in strong support of this bill. And in echoing what Brian had just said, to put it in perspective, there is 66,000 acres that are ramping into prime ag production. And it is 2 hours to take a container. You drive a container maybe an hour if you're lucky to Lihue, and an hour back. And the impact on the communities between and on the tourism is quite grave. And Port Allen is a great place for us to take a look at, but we do need to look statewide. I think some people don't understand that we have 14 microclimates in the world. We have 12. What that means is certain areas of the state are rock stars when it comes to like mango or citrus. Other areas are rock stars at sweet potatoes. Not everybody in the area can eat all of those. So we do need to be able to move things around. We're here for any questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? If not, are there any questions? All right, if not, thank you, everybody. Let's move on to the next measure. And I'll just note for the time, we're 3 measures in. We've got a little over an hour to get through 3 full agendas. So if there are, particularly for the agencies, if we have your written testimony, feel free to stand on it if you are so inclined. Up next, Senate Bill 2769 relating to climate change, which requires bus operators, state, county, et cetera, to upgrade to zero emissions, testifying first. Oh, I'm sorry, did I skip a bill? Yeah, I guess we should do this one. SB 3013 relating to invasive species, which appropriates funds to DOT for the coordinated removal of Albizia. See, he's the wise one. All right, testifying first on 3013, Department of Transportation. Good afternoon.
Thank you, chairs, Senator DeCoit. Tammy Lee, Deputy Director for the Department of Transportation. I think we submitted our testimony late, but we stand in support of this bill. In 2022, the legislature passed on a 2-to-1 basis the removal of Albizia trees. We worked with HECO. The appropriation was for $2 million. It was we encumbered all of the funds and we're steadily expending. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, PUC. Thank you. Hawaiian Electric.
Aloha, this is Jennifer Zelko, Director of Government and Community Affairs for Hawaiian Electric here on Hawaii Island, and we stand on our testimony in strong support of SB 3013. Thanks so much.
Thank you. That's everyone we had signed up for this measure. Is there anyone else here wishing to testify? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon again, chairs, Senator DeCoit, good to see you. Oh, Senator Inouye. Chelsea Arnott on behalf of the Hawaiian Invasive Species Council. Apologies again, we do have written testimony for this measure in support and just wanted to reflect that in supporting the Department of Transportation and this matching of removal of Albizia trees from highways and high value infrastructure. Mahalo for the opportunity.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? On this, going once, going twice. Okay, let's move on to the, oh, I'm sorry. Are there any questions?
Quick question. DOT, please. Well, I believe you guys have about $1 million in your budget to remove trees. I mean, because I'll be honest with you, certain areas that we've removed trees ourselves can cost us up to $30,000 for removal of the one tree while we break pavement. Is the 1 million enough?
So in 2022, I think we used our state highway fund, and so this would be general funds. Just kind of looking at the purchase orders that have been coming in, like you said, I see that for some districts right now, the purchase orders are for about 30,000, and we're steadily drawing down, but I have to do the research and get back to you.
If you can, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, what does it look like as far as the timeline for the removal of the trees?
So when we encumbered the contract towards the end of June of 2023, it looks like the expenditures, and I'll just say the expenditures haven't gone as quickly as I think we would like them to be. And I have to do some research on why that is. But so right now there is still balance in the contract, but we're steadily working towards expending the funds.
If you could let the committee know, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? All right, if not, thanks, everybody. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 2769, related to climate change, and testifying first, signed up as the Attorney General. Good afternoon.
Good evening, chairs, members of the committee. I'm Lyle Leonard, Deputy Attorney General. The department has identified a preemption issue with this bill as it's applied to private bus operators. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Next, we have the PUC. Oh, excuse me. We have Hawaii State Energy Office. Thank you. And with comments. Public Utilities Commission. Thank you. And Hawaiian Electric. Thank you. That's everyone who had signed up to testify. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? All right, if not, other questions?
Chair? Thank you. Did we receive any comments from County of Hawaii? Hawaii County? Oh, well, reason I
don't
ask
believe so.
is because Hawaii County has always made statements, and they want to add and upgrade their transportation system. But one of the issues that were raised earlier on with the electrical buses as well, they do provide services island-wide in their Helion bus. And some of the areas, as you know, what the Big Island is about with Highway 200 and then in always Saddle Road. And so at times, they were not as successful getting the buses up in a certain time frame. So I was just curious because, you know, they're the ones that's been complaining to us. We're mandating schedules like 2045, and they talked about 2030, and they're running into these issues. So I was just curious, and I'll probably give our mayor and the rest of them some hard pan. Why didn't you participate in their continuing to support or comments on bills before us?
Thank you.
Just an issue that they raised, and I'm raising it for them, I guess. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Sure.
Somebody in front of bus operators or county state operators.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, just one quick for the AG. Thanks for taking the time to come down. Real quick, in your testimony, you had mentioned the issue of preemption based on emissions and Clean Air Act and so forth. If I haven't spoken with the drafter of the bill, but assuming I'm getting the intent right, if the intent was to transition to cleaner vehicles, then removing that emissions basis in the bill and replacing it with, for example, he said like buses shall have batteries of such and such size or something to that effect as an equipment requirement, would that then solve the problem?
Possibly, but Probably not. And the case on point specifically says any emission characteristic of the engine. So if you're saying, if you're moving from gas buses to electric, it's probably still preempted, but I'd have to take a look at the proposed language.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. There's no further questions. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 2967, relating to state vehicles, which requires 50% of heavy-duty motor vehicles in the state's fleet to be hydrogen and 100% by 2035. And testifying first on 2967 is the State Energy Office. Thank you. That's all the folks we have signed up to testify. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? If not, are there any questions? Right, if not, that's the end of our TCA-AEN agenda. Yes. Okay. We do too. Okay, let's take a quick recess for decision making. Recess. Good afternoon. We're reconvening the Joint Committees on Agriculture and the Environment and Transportation and Culture and the Arts for decision making on our 3 p.m. agenda. I'll turn it over to my very esteemed colleague.
Okay, thank you, Chair. On SB 3237, the Chair is having conferred, we decided to do our decision making on Monday, February 12th at 1:02 p.m. in AEN. We'll do it at 1:02 p.m. in this room, 224. We need some more time to go over the testimony and answer other questions.
And for the Transportation, Culture and Arts Committee, we'll be deferring decision making until 2:13 at 3:01 p.m. On the same measure. In the same room. Okay, that's right, it's me. Moving on, Senate Bill 2815 relating to infrastructure. I would like to, this is a working group looking at ag and ports. We'd like to move this forward, but with a couple amendments, adopting the Department of Ag recommendation to include in the study a look at shade areas for livestock, as well as providing for the inspection of goods moving between islands for pests and invasive species, and tech amendments. Any comments, questions? Not, Vice Chair.
The Committee on Transportation, Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 2815 with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Elafante.
Aye.
Senator Kanuha.
Aye.
Senator Awa.
No.
Measure is adopted with 4 votes, 1 nay, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Same recommendation for AEN. Any discussion? Chair votes aye. Senator DeCoy?
Senator Coit votes aye. Senator Richards, excuse. Senator Rhodes.
Aye.
Senator Awa. Chair, your measure is adopted.
Thank you, members.
Thank you. Moving on to Senate Bill 3013 relating to invasive species regarding funding for albizia and other invasive trees. Our recommendation is to pass as is. There's no discussion. 3013. Not, chair votes aye.
Okay, 1 second. For the Committee on Transportation, Chair's recommendation on SB 3013 is to pass unamended with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Chair, your measure is adopted with 5 votes.
Thank you.
Same recommendation for AEN. Any discussion? Chair votes aye.
Committee on Agriculture, Environment, and Agriculture and Environment, recognizing all members here with the excuse of Senator Richards. Any nays? Any WRs? Seeing none, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, members.
Thank you. Moving on to Senate Bill 2769 relating to climate change regarding buses. We'd like to take a moment to chat with the stakeholders and particularly the Attorney General's office to see if we can figure out some amended language here. So we'd like to defer this for decision-making for the TCA committee till 2:13 at 3:01 p.m. here in this room.
And for AEN, we will defer our decision-making until 2:12 at 1:02 p.m. in this room, 224.
Thank you. Moving on to the last bill on this agenda, Senate Bill 2967 relating to state vehicles regarding heavy-duty motor vehicles. We'd like to move this forward, just adopting a couple amendments to address the State Energy Office concerns. Will allow for either electric or hydrogen vehicles under these targets, and also include non-road vehicles and equipment owned by the state, and tech amendments. Any discussion?
For the Committee on Transportation, Chair's recommendation to pass SB 2967 with amendments with 5 members present. Any voting with reservations?
With reservations.
Okay. Any no votes?
No.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair, with 3 votes, with 4 votes and 1 nay.
Thank you. Same recommendation for AEN. Any discussion? Chair votes aye. Senator DeCoy.
Committee on Agriculture and Environment, Senate Bill 2967, voting with amendments, recognizing all members here with the excuse of Senator Richards. Any WRs or nays? Thank you, Chair. Your measure is adopted.
Thank you, members.
Thank you. That ends our 3:00 p.m. agenda. And we are going to go into our next committee, so stand by. Thanks. Good afternoon. We're convening the Joint Committees on Transportation and Culture and the Arts and Energy, Economic Development and Tourism here in State Capitol Conference Room 224 on our 3:05 p.m. agenda. Thank you everyone for your patience as we got through that first agenda. I'll note we have several bills in this agenda, and for those who are still waiting outside, we have another agenda to follow for just the TCA committee. So thank you for your patience. We do have a lot of folks submitting testimony on both these measures and the ones following this. So we'll ask folks to make sure your written testimony is submitted. We'll bring you up to speak, but we will limit you to make sure that we have time to get to as many people as possible. So I'll ask you to summarize and move on if you go too long. And for agencies and others, if you're so inclined to stand on your testimony, we won't stop you. All right, up first, SB 2764 relating to the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, which transfers the State Foundation of Culture and the Arts and King Kamehameha Celebration Commission to DEFER. Testifying first on SB 2764 is the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairs Lee and DeCoit and members of the committees. I'm Karen Ewald. I'm the Executive Director of the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts. And we have provided written testimony. I just want to articulate on 2 points. First, abolishing the commission would make the state of Hawaii ineligible for federal funding from the National Endowment for the Arts. It would also take away our community voice, which is what the foundation is guided by. Second, regarding the move to the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, we would like to understand more on how this proposed move would benefit the community. As stated in our testimony, when state arts agencies move departments, they historically suffer decreased funding. So we would want to make sure that that didn't happen if this was to actually occur. Finally, let's just creatively come up with solutions to ensure that this doesn't occur. For example, if there's a line item in the transient accommodations tax designated for funding performing arts as attached agency to DBED, that would be beneficial. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Signed up next is DBED. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, chairs, members of the committee. Georgia Skinner, Head of Creative Industries Division, Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism. We offer comments on this measure. We are concerned about the commission structure itself and that going away. We noticed that that does, as a former Maui commissioner on this commission many years ago, I do know how important it is that that NEA funding is established and maintained. So we remain open to working in collaboration with the committee and also with State Foundation to find a way that we can align and hopefully find a way to work together on this. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Testifying next is Donkey Mill Art Center.
Aloha Chair, Chair DeCoy, and members of the committee. Ashley Raymond, the Executive Director at the Donkey Mill Art Center, a nonprofit art education center in Holualoa on Hawaii Island. Testifying on behalf of this bill and opposing this bill, I did submit a written testimony. The major concerns for us is removal of the Board of Commissioners on the State Foundation and then moving departments. Like Karen said, historically, funding is cut if agencies move departments. And for us in particular, we benefit from the Artists in the Schools program, which is administered by the State Foundation, and that brings art education into our elementary schools and the multiple Title I schools in our community. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Up next is Hulipak.
Aloha, thank you for this time. I stand by our testimony, and also I concur with Donkey Mill and the State Foundation on their testimony, so I won't repeat points from them. This bill would transfer authority to our governor and political body away from experts in these fields to the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism, and I find that wrong. There is no other industry that has the most positive societal impact that enhances and uplifts life in many, many ways. In education, community, cultural preservation, and its relevance, mental, emotional well-being, trauma, increased revenue, small businesses, circular economy, tourism, health, cultural landscape, culinary arts, performing arts, visual arts, decor, fashion, design, innovation, early childhood development, kupuna health programs, special needs, arts and healthcare systems, and arts at the Capitol. So arts and culture allows individuals to reflect and live more deeply and thoughtfully. The current Traveling Vietnam Memorial is a perfect example of how an artist designed a space where people can reflect the most difficult memories. The arts and culture must be a standalone importance and must be protected as such. Decommissioning the commission will have catastrophic, I think, repercussions. So I oppose this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is the King Kamehameha Celebration Commission. I apologize, I don't think folks recognize this was a government entity.
Amy Hammond, Executive Director for the King Kamehameha Celebration Commission. Mahalo, Senators Lee and DeCoit. Thank you for the other committee members as well. We did want to stand on our written testimony. However, we do just want to point out with regard to our opposition that we feel this would reduce the transparency and collaborative nature of a commission in place. And so that would not be a valuable thing to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Manini Gallery.
Aloha. I stand on my written testimony. Aloha, my name is Johnny Makas, representing Manini Gallery. I oppose SB 2764. As a recent member of the Volunteer Art Acquisition Selection Committee, I've seen the tangible effects of the SFCA's commitment to transparency. The Visual Arts Consultants Program has ensured that 85% of art acquisitions in the state involve community input, promoting a sense of ownership and shared cultural identity, which may be jeopardized with this bill. The SFCA's autonomy has resulted in remarkable outcomes over the past 5 years. SFCA has supported 120 local artists and facilitated 40 collaborative projects both on and off of Oahu. These collaborations, made possible through Art Special Fund, have not only enhanced our cultural heritage, but have also generated a 25% increase in art-related tourism, contributing significantly to Hawaii's economic landscape. SB 2764, by promoting the integration of the SFCA into DBED, risk diluting this success. The SFCA's Art and Education Program, as mentioned before, has, for instance, reached over 50,000 students annually, creating a fostering and nurturing environment for future generations. Merging SFCA into a larger department could jeopardize this direct impact on our youth and diminish the program's effectiveness. In conclusion, let us celebrate the measurable success of the SFCA and advocate for the continuation of its independent status. Preserving SFCA's unique role within our cultural ecosystem ensures not only the continued prosperity of our artists, but the economic benefits derived from a thriving arts community. Mahalo for your time.
Thank you. Testifying next is chairs.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee. Angela Melody Young testifying, wishing to comment. So I'm in strong support of the King Kamehameha Day Parade, which showcases schools, vendors, Hawaiian cultural representation. Yet I'm not very familiar with the internal structure of the offices, so I'm not going to get involved with the unnecessary drama of offices moving around. I'm just in support of the Kamehameha Day Parade. So there were some things that we did witness at the event this year. There were some safety concerns, homeless people. So that could be something that the state and the office considers. And as someone who has had a career in Los Angeles with work with musicians and actors, I've worked with the producers of the Oscars, I've always supported local artists and the filmmaking sector. I just want to raise up this concern that whatever happens internally, there should be opportunity with least restrictive bureaucratic measures for students, schools, collaborators, and local artists and indie producers to get support from the state, whether it's from DBED or Department of Accounting General Services. The Creative Industries Division and Office of the State of Hawaii has a program called Creative Labs, which creates public panels, workshops, coaching and mentoring for industry leaders, for screenwriting, directing, producing, music technology, the business of acting and fashion design. And Creative Labs is funded by the state DPED and the U.S. Economic Development Administration and the U.S. Department of Commerce. Creative Labs is a branch of DPED. So as an outsider who doesn't know much about the office, just trying to see the positive thing in things. If it were to move to DBED, the logistics of creating training programs and talent management can be managed better within one administrative umbrella. And DBED is working with musicians to teach about recording songs with their Creative Labs workshop while they organize that. And if the foundation moves to DBED, they could also produce concerts. Musicians need technology, studio time, recording opportunity, and performance time to create rock star artists. So I look forward to seeing more action in the arts industry. Thank you.
I'll just note for folks, it's 3:51 or so by the clock on the wall. That leaves us not a lot of time. So if there are things you want to get across, we totally welcome it, of course. I want to encourage everybody to say their piece. But if there's some new angle on things that you really want to emphasize, I definitely suggest maybe focusing there, just so we're not getting a lot of the same repeat. That said, up next is Nancy Young. If not, Jamie Simpson Steele. Robert Douglas. James Moffett. Christopher Cabrera. Kiara Womack. Yeah. Me too. Mr. Kumula Singh. Good afternoon.
Aloha mai kako. I don't want to repeat much of what everyone has already said earlier, but my name is Kumulao Singh. My wife Haunani Bolino Singh and I are presenting our testimony in opposition of Senate Bill 2764 that would transfer the SFCA and repeal the commission to DBED. There exist many flaws in this proposed bill. For a brief background, both Haunani and I are Hawaiian cultural practitioners and former educators. For the last couple of years, we've received the FTA, the Folk and Traditional Arts Grant, from SFCA. to support our efforts to revive and proliferate the art of ulana iege, which is traditional twine basketry. We have taught year-long weaving cohorts in the neighbor island communities of Maui, Hilo, Kona, and Oahu. And many times in the past, our neighbor island communities have suffered and been overlooked from receiving and benefiting from cultural art workshops and experiences. These opportunities tend to stay and continue to be offered mostly on Oahu. If SB 2764 goes forward, it'll affect neighbor island representation, as previously mentioned. Having DEFER take control of SFCA would be a detrimental mistake because oftentimes their focus is not art and culture. Their view and perception of art and culture lies heavily to support tourism, which is a political people-pleasing agenda that manipulates and at times perverts our authentic traditional arts and cultural practices. This bill will limit true representation and perpetuation of authentic cultural art. Keeping SFCA as an independent organization will ensure that the perpetuation of authentic cultural traditions by Native Hawaiians will continue. As beneficiaries of the FTA grant, we were able to teach EEA basketry in our communities with the intention of increasing the numbers of cultural practitioners, who in turn become invaluable resources and assets in their communities. And of course, the pinnacle of all this support is our exhibition at Capitol Modern this June for the Festival for Pacific Arts and Culture, FESPAC. Mahalo again for allowing us time for and consideration for sharing our manao to all of you. Aloha no.
Thank you. Up next, Leimomi Khan.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Aloha chairs. Thank you for the opportunity to give this testimony. I stand on my written testimony in opposition and in solidarity with the numerous others who likewise submitted testimony in opposition. Mahalo nui loa.
Thank you very much. That's everyone who had signed up to testify. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? Please come forward. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Chairs, vice chairs, members of the committees, Tui Scanlon, President, IATSE Local 665, International Trustee. We opposed this bill, and though arts the arts are a viable portion of U.S. GDP, approximately 6.9% of U.S. GDP in 2022, 1.4 million Americans employed by it, thriving economic activity within the arts sector. There must also be a space where arts just exist to make us better human beings. National Endowment of the Arts mission statement is to broaden public access to arts and expand opportunities for educational experience for the arts for all Americans of all ages. We believe that those two should be separate and apart. There needs to be a place for both. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead online. Mr. Gerard, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm from Hawaii, and I lived in California, and my cultural experience and experiences that brought me back home inside were with Native Americans, and in their traditions, they taught me about being back home and being with my people and what it means to be a whole human being. And I do that with recovery and people that are afflicted with drug and addiction problems. Psychology student and going on my doctorate, but I specialize in trauma, and that can be gentrification trauma, stuff that happened a long time ago, and helping people get through that. And I believe through the arts and other ways, especially traditional teachings, you can help people. If you have anything to ask.
Thank you very much. Up next.
In the interest of time, the Screen Actors Guild of the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists will stand on our testimony in opposition.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify in this measure?
Yeah, representing the International Artists of America chapter, I'd just like to say that contempt for the arts is the beginning of the erosion of civil society.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, if not, other questions?
Yes.
Let's go Senator Okai, followed by.
Sure.
Hi, Senator.
This bill actually does exactly the opposite of what those who are in opposition of it report. What support does DAGS give you?
That is a good question. I would like to say that we are attached to DAGS because I know it was because of the integration of works of art in buildings. Other than that, we are an attached agency to DAGS, so we're
So
independent.
DAGS provides you just administrative support, nothing else.
That I would venture to say yes.
So there's really no reason to cling on to that agency to be the administrator of your operations.
I totally agree, and I hear you, and I think that a dialogue of being attached to DBED is something that we should definitely talk about. I just want to make sure it's done in a mindful way, with no funding loss, as we discussed. So I totally agree with, yeah.
And that's not what this bill is trying to do. It's not trying to decimate arts and diminish arts in any way. It's actually the complete opposite. Under DBED, there was a report in 2023 that said that creative industries is a $4.5 billion segment of our economy, almost 5% of our economy. DAGS provides you no opportunity and no, synergy and guidance on helping to grow some of your artisans into entrepreneurs. That's the forte of DBED. That's what DBED can offer you that DAGS cannot offer you, correct?
That is very correct. I totally agree with you. And I also just want to make sure that there is also a difference in the sense that the State Foundation does serve the underserved through arts education, professional development for teachers, folk and traditional arts program. We want to make sure that's intact as well. But I do hear what you're saying, Senator.
So if we were to amend this bill, and I understand much of the trepidation is about the commission, and the bill right now gets rid of the commission. If we were to allow the commission to continue and have you, instead of a division, as an attached agency, kind of like HTA, NELHA, and the others, would you be supportive of that?
We would be supportive of that, as long as also the funding remains intact. Because I did in my testimony cite that traditionally, historically, when art agencies move to other departments throughout the nation, there is generally a loss of funding. I want to make sure that that doesn't happen as well, because then we wouldn't be happy with that or for that, because we already have so little in general funds as it is.
But you're at the
I
mercy
totally agree
of
with you.
the WAM and Fin shares every year anyway.
Yes.
They could increase your funding and they could decrease your funding.
That's very
So
true.
whether you're in DAGS or whether you're in DBED, that scenario you pointed out still exists.
That's very true. I agree.
Thank you.
Sure. Senator Inouye?
Thank you. And I'm not sure if you're the right person to answer the question that I will have. Could be maybe Georgette or the King Kamehameha Commission. The current setup is one that I was here, and I'm not sure if my colleagues were here when we made that change. And that in particular, and so I'm trying to think what year.
When
and
King Kamehameha moved to us.
Yes,
Yeah.
but during that time, the move was, there were many concerns and no different than addressed from the Maui group. Georgette, come, because I think you were around when we did this movement. And the concerns at that time, for me, I'm more involved, the concern I have is with the King Kamehameha Commission. And when we addressed the changes at that time, we all shared that the neighbor islands wanted to make sure that we are recognized as well, and that the counties were willing to participate. Secondly, the issue was to ensure that the commission, which was presented to us, that the Native Hawaiian culture activities and the arts were highly recognized, and that's why we continue to support the King Kamehameha Commission. So when was that? I can't remember. If it years,
quite a while ago, I think.
Yeah.
The executive director probably
It was a
has-
couple of
and
years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, anyway, but there were the concerns. I see no problem with the community. I mean, we love them. They're, as Lloyd did mention, I think he did, the concerns were raised at that time. So, yeah, I'm kind of concerned with the comments made in the opposition.
Yeah, I think the main thing, and again, having been a Maui commissioner way back, and I can't even remember exactly the date that I left, but 2006, probably.
And I think that's about the time that we reformed and made sure that King Kamehameha Commission was healthy and active. Yes.
So all of those things which are important, the arts contribute to our lives. And I think a lot of the things that you've heard today are very important to that. What DBET has done is just looked at another facet of that, which is to have our artists survive so that rather than wearing t-shirts that say I'm a broke artist, we can have people say we're successful. And that's not for everyone. Not every artist is going to want to do that. As an art major in school, I totally relate in a soulful way to what the people are saying, and in particular in Native Hawaiian artists, because the work of the foundation is a great one. I think we do work well together, and I think being in DBED might have positive aspects. And if there is agreement with the committees to look at it as an attached agency versus have the concern of the NEA funding loss, I think that may help a lot of the constituents that may oppose it, and I honor them if they do
But are we
oppose.
doing away with the King Kamehameha Commission?
No.
It would be the State Foundation.
Okay, just transfer.
Everything stays intact as I read it. Granted, the bill and the comments that you heard today are about what is written in the bill. So currently, and I think what we're trying to do is propose what's the best avenue to help advocate for the value that they will also bring to the community in addition to our economy, because they do. Hawaii has one of the highest concentration of artists in the world. We need to elevate them more, and that's our commitment at Creative Industries in DBED.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Further questions? Just real quick for both of you, building on Senator Wakai's point, how often have you guys had an opportunity to actually like collaborate on things?
Oh,
wow.
That's a good question, actually. Like,
I could do the historic
we could
part.
do it more.
We're
Yeah.
going to get into history,
Go ahead.
but
Go
is
ahead.
it something, I guess what I'm asking is something that happens regularly, and to what extent is there like some sort of like grand vision or plan, and how do you both fit into it?
Yeah, I think that would be worthwhile for us to have a grand vision and plan.
Yeah.
I think that what we have done is partner on several things. I'm excited that they're going to be hosting a lot of FestPac and the activities that they've developed for that in partnership with DBED and the agency that's helping to manage that. But in particular, when we had the Grammy category, one of the things that we did do in collaboration with the State Foundation was to say, instead of just doing a concert on the lawn, let's promote this, let's stream it online so that people can vote when we had a category for Hawaiian music.
Will the commission stay intact? King
Oh, it
Kamehameha
must,
Commission
it must
and
stay
the
intact.
membership
Yes,
and the appointing process?
it
remains.
must stay intact because it's under their
Yeah.
kuleana.
So-
And just to answer your question too, on our end, I've been with the State Foundation for almost 10 years now, have had good working relationship with DBED and Creative Industries specifically, but I think there could be opportunity if we were attached to DBED to be able to have that kind of increased communication. But yeah, so there
Yeah.
could be some.
Thank you.
And getting into that, if we, I don't know, figure out some direction for this, has there ever been, or should there be now, sort of a joint process to figure out what that vision is that ties what
Absolutely,
you
yeah.
guys are doing? Because obviously there's two different things you guys are advocating for,
Yeah.
and two different departments.
I would say different facets of the same big vision.
But that's something you guys would be totally open to and
Oh,
developing.
absolutely,
And,
yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 2777. Thank you everyone for your patience. Relating to highways, which establishes the Highways Clean Energy Technology Pilot Program at DOT, and testifying first on 2777 is Department of Transportation. Thank you. That's all the testimony we have signed up for. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure this afternoon? If not, are there any questions? All right, if not, thank you, everyone. We're going to take a quick recess for decision making. Good afternoon. We're reconvening the Joint Committees on Transportation and Culture and the Arts and Energy and Economic Development and Tourism on our 3:05 p.m. agenda here in State Capitol Conference Room 224 for decision making. First is Senate Bill 2764 relating to the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism. Appreciate everybody's patience as we got through that. I'll note that there was a significant amount of opposition, I think, based on loss of funding and some other considerations. I appreciate the discussion from the departments and the other folks who took their time to come here and share their mana'o and perspectives on everything. We'd like to move the discussion forward, I think, addressing all the concerns being raised and make sure that, first of all, there's no intent to reduce funding for arts or anything like that, but rather see if there's a synergy or some other opportunities that can be opened up to increase support and increase funding and increase things like that for everybody. So let me real quick before we get into the guts of this, turn it over for a moment just for folks to have a quick discussion before our vote. But the intent will be to maintain the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts as an intact agency headed by a commission. So all federal funding is preserved, and there's no question whatsoever that there's any loss or threat of loss of either autonomy or funding or anything of the sort. So I want to be just absolutely very clear about that. So recommend to move the bill on, but with that amended language, which merely just moves the agency onto which the agency is attached, or the department to which it's attached. And then hopefully we can compel some further conversation as we go ahead. We'll put it to effective date on the bill as well. So this isn't the final say. We'll have plenty of opportunity. The public will have plenty of opportunity to weigh in once they see the amendments that are before us today. So with that, let me open it up for discussion. Go over here first.
Yeah. I appreciate your willingness to move this forward. I think we all are fans of the arts, and it could be even better. I mean, too many of our artisans in the state are just hobbyists that do things on the weekend because they can't make it as full-fledged entrepreneurs because they might not know about distribution, marketing, IP, all of those things, which is in the wheelhouse of DBED. So I think this is a great marriage for those who do. I mean, some people want to just be hobbyists, but there are probably a lot of folks that if they could really live off painting, sculpting, music, whatever, that they would really want to be full-fledged in that particular area. And that's what DBED brings to enhance the arts. DAGS provides absolutely nothing except administrative support. So I appreciate the words of the chair of transportation to keep the commission there to assure everyone, because that was most of people's eggs, right? It's like the commission, and the commission brings in different voices, particularly neighbor island voices, into the arts discussion. So having that is important, and having it attached, so it will be similar to how NELHA, HTA are set up, where they have boards, and that Karen or whoever the executive director is will answer to that board, not to Jimmy Tokioka, not to Georgia, but to that board. So things are going to be pretty seamless in moving over, and I just think there's only upside. There's very little downside towards this movement. So thank you, Chair Lee, for advancing this bill. Sure.
Okay, I'll make it short. Thank you, chairs, for consideration of keeping our commissions intact. Appreciate, and we'll move forward. And hopefully that if in the near future there's going to be changes again, that it just becomes public again, so there's participation. But I mahalo all of you, and I appreciate that.
Further discussion?
On behalf of Energy, Economic Development, and Tourism, I think there is an opportunity here for us to help. This bill will move on to Ways and Means, which will allow you to take a look at the conditions that we're going to put on the bill and the recommendations. I think as long as we keep the commission intact, which is what I believe is the want here, on behalf of the testifiers, I'd like to move forward and see how we can help them and succeed.
Okay, there's no further discussion.
For the
Vice Chair,
okay,
please.
for the Committee on Transportation, Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 2764 with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Elafante.
Aye.
Senator Kanuga.
Aye.
Senator Awal.
Aye.
Measure is adopted with 5 votes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, same recommendation, chair votes aye.
Vice Chair votes yes. Senator Fukunaga. Senator Kim. Excuse. Senator Favela.
I'm gonna wait till we go to WAM, but I'm gonna vote no on this one right now. Thank you, Chair.
Recommendations adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our next measure, Senate Bill 2777 relating to highways, which establishes the Highways Clean Energy Tech Pilot Program within DOT. Recommendation is to move this forward, making one amendment, which is addressing DOT's testimony. So on page 2, line 2, we'll change that to read, quote, on any state road or DOT property, to give them just a little bit more flexibility as they roll out this program. So any discussion on this? If not, Vice Chair.
Chair's recommendation on SB 2777 on Committee on Transportation and the Arts with 5 members present. Any voting with reservations? Any no votes? Hearing none, Vice Chair, 5 votes is your measure is adopted.
All right, thank you, everyone.
EET, same recommendation, chair votes aye.
Reaching for the gavel.
Vice Chair votes yes. Senator Fukunaga. Senator Kim, excuse. Senator Favela. Chair, your recommendations adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. Now for the gavel. I'll just note for folks who Good afternoon. We're convening the Transportation, Culture, and Arts Committee on our 3:10 p.m. agenda here in State Capitol Conference Room 224. We have a number of measures on our agenda this afternoon. Thank you, everyone, for your patience as we went through other agendas first. I'll just note, as we have a lot of testimony on several of these, we'll want everyone to have a chance to testify. So we're going to be limiting for these agendas testimony to 1 minute, so we can make sure that we get through everyone who took the time out to be here this afternoon. And for any state agencies, if you're in the House and wishing to stand on your testimony, we won't stop you. So up first is Senate Bill 3348 relating to transportation, which changes state registration fees and state vehicle weight tax amounts. And testifying first is the Department of Transportation. Thank you. Up next is Tax Foundation.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. This is Jade McMillan on behalf of Tommy Yamachika for the Tax Foundation of Hawaii. We will stand on our comments submitted for the measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is the Alliance for Automotive Innovation. Thank you. That's all the testimony we have signed up for. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? Right. If not, are there any questions? Right. If not, thank you, everybody. Let's move on to the next measure.
Excuse me, can I ask, since
Vice Chair.
Yeah, since this is a public informational briefing and a meeting, and we're raising taxes, we're raising fees. So as I always have comments made by the public who's watching us all the time, my phone, I know is going to ring tonight. Can you more or less tell us is this your bill? Is this a DOT bill?
It's not.
Oh, okay. So you don't know what the fees are going to be raised to? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. If there's no further questions, let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 3287 relating to towing companies, which changes the fees that a towing company may charge to tow vehicles. And testifying first is DCCA.
Good afternoon, Mana Moriarty, Executive Director, Office of Consumer Protection. Chair, you have our comments as to our concerns about issuing a certificate of good standing. Just want to add that there's a possibility here for confusion if another certificate of good standing has to be issued. And let me explain that. The Business Registration Division already issues a certificate of good standing That simply means that your business filings have been made on time. The idea that you would have a second certificate of good standing may cause consumer confusion. We're happy to address questions and otherwise stand on the testimony.
Thank you. Testifying next is Pinky Toes Pacific. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, staff in the back, members in the audience, aloha to all. My name is George Grace. I represent the company called Pinky Toes Pacific. It's in our family business. I'm a second generation toll man. We asked that this bill get, the support it needs. It's greatly needed in our industry. From 2008 till now, everything has increased: labor, fuel, real estate, insurance. It's taken a toll on us highly. We all share the same fuel prices. You see it when you go to the pump. On top of that, liabilities and, like I said, our insurances is just ridiculous. It hurts our brothers and sisters in the tow industry off island more than it hurts us. But as a state law, we're all trapped under this one statute that doesn't allow us to get fair money for the work that we do, the high risk money that we do, high risk work. Excuse me. We hope that everybody can see the mercy of this, because it for some of us it's getting close to an end of our businesses because we just can't do it with the high costs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everyone we had signed to testify. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure?
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. My name is Jeanette Grace, and I am with Pinky Toes Pacific. First of all, I would love to say mahalo to the introducer, Senator Favela, for hearing our concerns and putting this together. I've been in the toll industry myself for 10 years, but I've been a business owner for 30 years. And throughout the years of being in business, the cost of doing business is very expensive in Hawaii. The cost of labor, the cost of taxes, insurances, fuel, everything goes up every year. But when you look at the prices of the towing, it's the same. And you're looking at something that has never increased at all for the past 16 years. And that's always been a question for us as to why. So to have this being brought up in front of everyone, that's greatly appreciated. And it is greatly needed. We do deserve and we do need to have an increase to help us to continue to provide our services to the community, the various businesses that we work with, government as well as private. So I am 100% in support of this bill, and I ask for your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here wishing to testify in this measure? If not, other questions? Senator Favela.
Keystone. On the U.S. continent, let's just talk about insurance. Do you guys have a big broad of companies that you guys can get insurance from, or is that limited?
Oh, absolutely, it's limited. We're not able to benefit from the tow industry rates in the mainland, which is way cheaper than Hawaii. I mean, super cheap. We're not allowed to do that.
Can you explain why so they understand?
Because you got,
I'm
sorry. Yeah, because they're not recognized in Hawaii, and Hawaii has a door that's shut on them that doesn't allow them to reach overseas to take us as clients, which doesn't make any sense. In the continental U.S., I mean, they go from state to state. We're a state.
All right. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? If not, let's move on to the next measure. Senate Bill 3266 relating to vegetation management, which appropriates funds to DOT to manage projects to reduce the risk of wildfires across the state. Testifying first on 3266 is the Department of Transportation. Thank you. Up next is DLNR. In support, and that's everyone who signed up to testify. Is there anyone else here wishing to testify in this measure? If not, are there any questions? If not, thank you, everybody. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 2740, relating to mopeds, which requires rented mopeds to be electric. And testifying first is Hawaii State Energy Office. Thank you. Up next is JP Power Sports. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Chair, Vice Chair, members. So driving a gas or an electric moped presents similar risks for the driver, but gas vehicles are safer than electric vehicles in spite of carrying gas. Gas risks had been mitigated a long time ago, but batteries have a lot of power concentrated on them, and they can catch on fire at any time. We had a few cases here in Hawaii. So the visitors are the ones who benefit quite a bit from the gas moped, and they ride along the islands. Them changing batteries anywhere is not safe. It becomes a liability because we need controlled areas and controlled environment to charge these batteries. We do it in our shop, and so when the fire starts, it's very hard to stop. And also the bikes are heavier, the batteries are heavier, and disposing of these batteries is a challenge. The lithium does not go back to the earth the same way it came out, plus all the other materials, plastics and metals. So the issue is that some businesses will start bringing some very cheap electric mopeds to fulfill the market, and which are not really, at this point in time, they're not designed, neither manufactured with quality materials. High-end electric mopeds are $3,000 to $4,000. So I'm not sure what consequences will bring to the market on this.
So can we ask you, are you opposing or are you supporting?
I'm opposing.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thanks.
All right, thank you. Up next is Hawaiian style rentals and sales. If not, online, Mr. Gerard. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your consideration. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. There are over 6 billion people on the planet. 1% of those are mopeds. That equates to 120 million. Mopeds are the safest, cleanest form of transportation. If you look at any study that compares a gas moped, which is completely recyclable and doesn't cause any transmission, I mean, 1 gallon gets you 50 miles a gallon. Can your car get that? And if you think about, like, I went through 2 other hearings today. Hiko even said, we can't do this. We can't support this. If you pass this legislation, they can't support charging all these motorbikes. You know, if everything has to go electric, they can't do it. It's gonna affect the whole power grid. And so I think I just ask you to, like, deeply consider all the variables. You know, eliminate 2 strokes, 4 strokes, which are cleaner, and, you know, maybe more regulation. If you have any questions.
Thank you very much. That's everyone who signed up to testify this afternoon. Is there anyone else here in the room wishing to testify?
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee, Angela Melody Young, testifying in strong support of electric mopeds. So from the electric power that lights up homes to the cars we drive to work, modern life was built on fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas. But burning toxic fuels creates pollutants that leads to early death, heart attacks, respiratory disorders, asthma, and it causes people to not go to school and work because of medical reasons. And it has also been linked to autism spectrum disorder. Research from Harvard University in collaboration with the University of Birmingham, 8 million people died in 2018 from fossil fuel pollution, meaning pollution from fossil fuels like coal and diesel were responsible for about 1 in 5 deaths worldwide. And so policy should switch to supporting electric cars and electric mopeds. From the US Department of Energy, why are electric mopeds good for the community, good for the earth, and is environmentally friendly? All electric vehicles, or also referred to as electric battery vehicles, have an electric motor instead of an internal combustion engine, and the vehicles uses a large traction battery pack to power the electric motor and must be plugged into a wall outlet or charging equipment, also called electric vehicle supply equipment. And because it runs on electricity, the vehicle emits no exhaust from a tailpipe and does not contain the typical liquid fuel components. It runs on renewable energy sources. And so we should be supportive. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? All right, if not, are there any questions?
Yes, I don't know who the guy was on the TV. He said something about safety. This is just a comment then, Chair. Mopeds are not safe. Engine mopeds, it's not safe. It's a danger to my community. It's a danger to my residents. From Ever Beach to Macau to Hawai'i, none of them is registered. I get about 150 mopeds stolen, stripped in my community, dumped in Hawbush. Every month, hundreds of mopeds are stripped for the engine parts and other things. Going forward, and you guys know I don't like battery cars, but I am for not having any more mopeds with any kind of engine because it's a hazard to the community. I know the guy said it's safe and all that, it ain't, Chair. And I'm supporting for that, not to have any mopeds with engines, not for the cost.
Okay, sorry, we'll we can chat offline afterward.
Thank you, Chair.
Let's move on to Senate Bill 2445 relating to the Department of Transportation, which requires DOT to identify an emergency access route other than Komomai Drive from Pacific Palisades. And testifying first on 2445 is Chairman of the Pearl City Neighborhood Board, Mr. Larry Verre. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, good afternoon, aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. I'm Larry Verre, Chairman of the Pearl City Neighborhood Board. I'll keep this real brief. I'm representing my board as a whole, plus all the 6,000 residents that live on that plateau of Pacific Palisades with that one road that goes in. We're in strong support of SB 2445. I'll stand on all my technical details that I gave you, the reasons why it's so important this bill get passed. But the bottom line is we need an emergency egress road out of Pacific Palisades in case there's a natural disaster. Could be a wildfire, could be a hurricane, but Komomai Drive, it's amazing that it's lasted this long with all the flash floods we've had. But thank you so much, and please pass this bill.
Thank you. Next is, oh, that's it. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify? If not, are there any questions? All right, if not, thank you. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 2819, relating to traffic safety, which requires slow-moving vehicles to move over. And testifying first on 2819 is the Department of Transportation. Thank you. That's all the testimony we have. Is there anyone else wishing to testify? All right, if not, are there any questions? If not, let's go on to the next measure, Senate Bill 3012, relating to motor vehicle safety inspections, which lengthens the time period in which certain vehicles must have a safety inspection. Testifying first is the Department of Transportation. Thank you. That's everyone who signed up to testify. Is there anyone else wishing to jump in on this? Testify. If not, thank you. Any questions? If not, thank you. Up next is Senate Bill 3065 relating to funding adjustments for state programs, which appropriates funds for DOT. And testifying first is the Department of Transportation. Thank you. Up next, Department of Budget and Finance.
Budget and Finance stands in support of this measure.
Thank you. That's all the testimony we have. Is there anyone else? If not, are there any questions? All right, thank you very much. Finally, Senate Bill 3179 relating to capital advancement contracts, which increases caps for total contract value for contracts at the Department of Transportation. And testifying first is DOT. Thank you. Next is Young Brothers. Thank you. And that's everyone who signed up to testify. Is there anyone else? Thank you. If there's no one else, any questions?
Yeah, DOT. Yeah, and this is the regarding harbor improvements, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so the question is, and I know we've come a long way making improvements to our state harbors, and I'm glad we started doing that 4 years ago. So there's, I think, one more or an important part of, you know, that whole harbor improvement projects. So now we're moving into Big Island and Hilo, I think, with the master plan for Hilo Harbor. And I think that had to do with the purchasing of all the real estate part. So how are we moving along with that?
I'm going to see if subject matter expert and our Deputy Director, Drake Khalili, is on the line.
Yes. Hi. Aloha, Senator Inoue.
And also, if this bill also, you know, ensures that your projects will continue. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the issue with the capital advancement contracts is basically it's a tool for us to work more closely with our harbor users. So because we are responsible for providing facilities in a certain condition and a certain state of good repair, when we have improvements that we need to make that we would have paid for anyway as the landlord, sometimes there are projects and the nature of the projects basically require us to, or the coordination with the harbor users is critically important. And when the harbor users can run the projects on their own and coordinate and contract directly with the contractor, it just makes for fewer disruptions to their operations as possible. And so this is just a tool for us to facilitate that and run projects that we would pay for anyway in a more expedient and cost-effective manner. When the harbor users are responsible for these projects, one, we reimburse them, but two, they are still responsible for adhering to state procurement requirements. So that's the capital advancement contract. However, for the projects that we're doing on Hawai'i Island specifically, yes, we are in the middle of a land exchange as well as implementing a federal grant project for Kauai Harbor. Those are moving along very well, but I don't expect that we would use a capital advancement contract for any of those projects. The projects where we would use them and are using them are for the redesign of Sand Island Container Terminal after Kapalama Container Terminal is completed, as well as the redevelopment of the Young Brothers site in Honolulu Harbor.
Okay, but the project to complete the Hilo Harbor on the land acquisitions is not in danger?
No, not at all.
Okay, we're moving along and thank you as well for coming to do your community outreach meeting in my district. Appreciate that as well. So, but we're moving along. The last report we had from the contractor, where is it at this point?
So we did get quite a few comments through the environmental assessment, and it is taking us a little longer than expected to respond to the comments appropriately. But I expect that within this quarter, we will publish the final environmental assessment, and then we'll move into the next phase of the
All right.
land acquisition.
I appreciate that as well. And thank you so much. I was just concerned because there's immediate improvements need to happen because of our heavy work and incoming traffic at Hilo Harbor right now. And between Matson and Young Brothers, they sure could use the space. We appreciate the continued support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All right, if not, thank you everybody for your patience. We'll note we have this agenda to vote on, as well as a deferred agenda from a few days ago. So we're gonna go ahead and recess for decision making. All right, good afternoon again. We're reconvening the Senate Committee on Transportation and Culture and Arts for decision-making on our 3:10 p.m. agenda here in State Capitol Conference Room 224. Up first is Senate Bill 3348 relating to transportation, which deals with registration fees. I'd like to defer this for decision-making until 2:13 at 3:01 p.m. here in this conference room 224, while we figure out how to get more data so that we can see if something works here. The intent is to...
Can you just take a break? I need to
Yeah.
check with her.
Yeah.
I get too many worksheets here.
The
Okay, so
intent on
let's-
this measure is to
One second, hold on. Okay.
right size our registration
so I
fees and
don't
other
have-
things, and hopefully
Okay, so
reduce
where's-
costs for people at the
where's
same
this one?
time addressing
Okay, you want
DOT's
deferred.
issues
Okay.
over the long run. But
Okay.
we'll work with stakeholders to see if there's something there. If not,
Yeah,
we can figure out something else. So that's deferred till 2:13 at 3:01 p.m. Okay. Up next is Senate Bill 3287 relating to towing companies. This is the towing fees bill. Want to thank the introducer for his participation today. This one also we want to defer for decision making until 2:13 at 3:01 p.m. while we talk with all the stakeholders and review what to do. Up next is Senate Bill 3266 relating to vegetation management, which appropriates funds to the DOT for vegetation management projects to reduce wildfire risk. We'd like to move this along, but with some amendments. We'd like to adopt the DLNR amendments to include the Division of Forestry and Wildlife as a partner, and I guess split the appropriation so that DOT and DOFA both have capacity to address vegetation management or replacement with less fire-prone vegetation. That goes on to WAM, so the discussion can continue there. So any discussion on this one?
Chair's recommendation on SB 3266 to pass with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Elafante.
Aye.
Senator Kanuha.
Aye.
Senator Awa.
Aye.
Measure is adopted with 5 votes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to Senate Bill 2740 relating to mopeds. This is the rented electric moped discussion. I want to thank everybody for participating again. Similarly, we'll defer this one until 2:13 at 3:01 p.m. See if we can chat with stakeholders further. Senate Bill 2445 relating to the Department of Transportation. This is the emergency access route to Komomai Drive. I'd like to move this forward to the next committee. We'll just put in a defective date, so we have an opportunity to chat, make sure that there's resources and we can make this happen. So we'll defer this till, or excuse me, we'll add a defective date, and recommendation is to pass with amendments. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Ready? Okay. Chair's recommendation on SB 2445 to pass with amendments, with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, measure is adopted with 5 votes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to Senate Bill 2819 relating to traffic safety, which is the slow-moving traffic moving over bill. I would like to move this along with amendments, just clarifying that folks should be pulling over only where and when it's safe, and then adding in a defective date. So any discussion on this? If not,
Chair's recommendation on SB 2819 to pass with amendments with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair, with 5 votes.
thank you. Moving on to SB 3012 relating to motor vehicle safety inspections. Similarly, we'll defer this till 2:13 at 3:01 p.m. For decision making while we chat with stakeholders. SB 3065 relating to funding adjustments for state programs. This is the funds for DOT. Recommendation is to pass as is.
Chair's recommendation to pass SB 3065 unamended with 5 members present, any with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, Vice Chair, with 5 members present, measure is adopted.
Thank you. Finally, moving on to Senate Bill 3179 relating to capital advancement contracts, which increases the caps for contracts for DOT. Recommendation is to pass as is.
Chair's recommendation on SB 3179 to pass unamended with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, Vice Chair, measure is adopted, Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to that's the end of our agenda. We'll have one more agenda for voting, which was our deferred agenda from several days ago. So that's our 3:05 p.m. agenda that we'll go into now. And up first is Senate Bill 2746 relating to harbor safety, which requires securing of mooring lines from vessels requiring assistance, does other things. This measure has been a work in progress, and I think we've been having a good stakeholder discussion. I'll note both labor and some of the other harbor users are in discussion right now to try and work out some language. So we want to give them that opportunity, but noting the legislative calendar, we do want to move the bill forward so that opportunity can hopefully materialize into language that addresses everyone's issues on both sides of that equation, so that we have safe harbors, we have safe operations at our harbors, and folks who know what they're doing, and at the same time, we don't have any impacts on our goods and neighbor islands and other things. So we'd like to move this forward to the Ways and Means Committee to continue that discussion, but to make sure that we have that opportunity, we'll add in a defective date so that we can be sure we can return to this discussion and vet everything that's working out. But really want to thank the stakeholders for participating and everyone who had chimed in on the measure. So recommendation is to move ahead with amendments.
Okay.
Any discussion? Do you want to say anything?
Yes. Mr. Chair, I've had grave reservations with this measure. I have spoken, actually, they came to apologize because I understand that this bill needs, will make some changes and not the correct measure that it was intended for. And I understand there's a recommendation with the users as well as those that were in opposition that continued discussions. I'm going to vote with reservations because I don't know what they are. Another concern I had is that to ensure that you consider, Mr. Chair, that those that has the, and I think it was a request that came in earlier to separate this bill and from the, I think it was Enchum's bill that had to do with what was the Pacific Marine? The dry docks. So make sure that the dry dock companies are exempted from this measure, just to add, to make sure. Okay, so I'll be voting with reservations. The Chair's recommendation on SB 2746 is to pass with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Okay, Vice Chair goes with reservation. Senator Elefante.
Aye.
Okay, Senator Kanuha.
Aye.
Okay, Senator Awa.
Aye.
Measure is adopted. Mr. Chair, with 5 votes.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to the next measure on the agenda, SB 2747 relating to aircraft, which requires DOT to adopt rules for minimum insurance coverage. We'd like to move this forward, just noting that the Consumer Protection Committee will take a look at this and are best equipped to deal with the insurance limits. So what we do want to do, though, is pass with amendments, blanking out the $1 million and inserting language also for consideration that would require a blank percentage of the insurance, the minimum insurance requirement to become a blank percentage of the highest minimum required insurance at an international airport in the United States, so that we have some good correlation here. So we'll leave that blank and we'll leave the Consumer Protection Committee to take a look at that. So any discussion?
Okay. Chair's recommendation on SB 2747 to pass with amendments with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, measure is adopted with 5 votes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Finally, moving on to Senate Bill 2806 relating to vehicles. This allows ATVs driven on streets in rural areas. I'll note we've been talking with the bill introducer as well as other stakeholders to figure out if there's some sort of specific amendments that would address some of the issues that have been raised. We'll note in the committee report that the stakeholders, similarly to the other bill, are currently working on language that they would like to have an opportunity to look at. So we're going to add in a defective date to the bill, but this goes on to the Judiciary Committee, where hopefully by the time they have a hearing there, they'll have some progress on their discussions.
Thank you. Chair's recommendation to SB 2806 to pass with amendments with 5 members present, any voting with reservations, any no votes. Hearing none, measure is adopted with 5 votes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. And that is the end of our agenda. Thank you, everybody. We're adjourned.